It was a dark and stormy night, and the city was eerily quiet. The figure walking down the alleyway knew that danger was lurking around every corner. He had seen the news reports, heard the stories of the city's most notorious criminals. But he was determined to catch them, to bring them to justice. Criminal profiling is an essential tool for law enforcement agencies worldwide. It helps detectives understand the motivations and behaviors of criminals, allowing them to solve cases and prevent future crimes. But there are many myths and misconceptions about the science of criminal profiling. A detective's office is typically portrayed as a space where important investigative work takes place. The files and evidence strewn across the desk are a visual representation of the detective's active involvement in solving a case. The cluttered nature of the office suggests a sense of urgency and the need for quick action, as the detective works to piece together clues and evidence in order to identify a suspect and solve the crime. This video provides insight into the importance of criminal profiling, which is a tool used by law enforcement agencies to understand the psychological and behavioral characteristics of criminals. This understanding allows detectives to create a profile of the perpetrator, which can be used to identify potential suspects and narrow down the investigation. However, the video also highlights the prevalence of myths and misconceptions surrounding criminal profiling. For example, some people believe that criminal profiling is an exact science that can accurately identify a suspect, while others believe that it is little more than guesswork or intuition. In reality, criminal profiling is a complex process that involves careful analysis of evidence and data, combined with psychological and behavioral theories. Overall, the scene here work together to create a sense of urgency and importance surrounding the use of criminal profiling in solving crimes, while also emphasizing the need for a nuanced understanding of the science behind it. Hello and welcome to this video on the science of criminal profiling. CrimPsychologyopia presents this video, primarily to separate fact from fiction and inspire you to learn more about this fascinating field. Criminal profiling is a complex process that involves analyzing crime scene data, witness statements, and the behavior of the perpetrator. It helps detectives create a psychological profile of the offender, which can then be used to narrow down the list of suspects and identify the person responsible for the crime. But despite its usefulness, there are many myths and misconceptions about criminal profiling. One of the most common is that it is an exact science, that profilers can accurately predict the age, gender, and ethnicity of the offender based on the crime scene evidence alone. Criminal profiling is a technique used by law enforcement agencies to develop a profile of an unknown offender based on the evidence collected from the crime scene. It involves analyzing the crime scene, victimology, and other relevant information to create a behavioral profile of the offender. However, despite its usefulness, criminal profiling is not an exact science, and there are many myths and misconceptions surrounding it. One of the most common myths is that criminal profiling is infallible and can accurately predict the age, gender, and ethnicity of the offender based on the crime scene evidence alone. In reality, criminal profiling is a complex process that involves analyzing a wide range of factors, including the physical evidence at the scene, the victim's characteristics and behaviors, and the circumstances surrounding the crime. Profilers use their expertise to develop a profile that is based on these factors, but it is not always accurate. Moreover, criminal profiling is not a substitute for other investigative techniques, such as DNA analysis or witness interviews. It is just one tool in the investigative process and should be used in conjunction with other methods to increase the likelihood of identifying and apprehending the offender. Another misconception about criminal profiling is that profilers can read minds or have psychic abilities. This is simply not true. Profilers use their knowledge of criminal behavior and psychology to create a profile of the offender, but they do not have any supernatural powers. In summary, while criminal profiling can be a useful tool in investigating crimes and identifying offenders, it is not an exact science, and there are many myths and misconceptions surrounding it. It is important to approach criminal profiling with a critical and informed mindset and to use it in conjunction with other investigative techniques to increase the likelihood of identifying and apprehending offenders. But the reality is that criminal profiling is far from an exact science. While there is some evidence to suggest that certain types of crimes may be more likely to be committed by individuals with specific personality traits, the accuracy of these predictions is still a matter of debate among scientists and law enforcement professionals. While criminal profiling can be a valuable tool in helping law enforcement agencies identify and apprehend suspects, it is not an exact science. Criminal behavior is complex, and it is influenced by a wide range of factors, including social, economic, and psychological factors. Although there is some evidence to suggest that certain types of crimes may be more likely to be committed by individuals with specific personality traits, the accuracy of these predictions is still a matter of debate among scientists and law enforcement professionals. One of the challenges in criminal profiling is the lack of standardization in the process. There is no universally accepted method for conducting criminal profiling, and different practitioners may use different techniques or criteria in developing a profile. Moreover, the accuracy of criminal profiling can be affected by several factors, such as the quality and quantity of evidence available, the experience and expertise of the profiler, and the nature of the crime itself. In addition, the effectiveness of criminal profiling is often difficult to measure, as it is not always possible to determine whether a particular profile was accurate or not. Even when an offender is identified and apprehended, it can be challenging to determine whether the profile played a significant role in the investigation. Overall, while criminal profiling can provide valuable insights into the behavior and motivations of offenders, it is not an exact science, and its accuracy and effectiveness remain a matter of debate. As with any investigative technique, criminal profiling should be used in conjunction with other methods and should be approached with a critical and informed mindset. Another myth about criminal profiling is that it can only be used to catch serial killers and other violent criminals. But in reality, profiling can be used to solve a wide range of crimes, from theft and fraud to cybercrime and terrorism. Criminal profiling, also known as offender profiling, is a technique used by law enforcement to identify and apprehend criminals. It involves analyzing the behavior, motives, and psychological characteristics of an offender based on the evidence collected from a crime scene. One common myth about criminal profiling is that it can only be used to catch serial killers and other violent criminals. However, this is not entirely accurate. Profiling can be used to solve a wide range of crimes, from theft and fraud to cybercrime and terrorism. In fact, criminal profilers can provide valuable insights into the behavior and motives of offenders in any type of crime. For example, in cases of theft and fraud, profiling can help identify the most likely suspects based on their past behavior, patterns, and motives. Similarly, in cases of cybercrime, profiling can help identify the type of offender involved and their potential motives, which can help in the investigation and prosecution of the crime. Profiling can also be used to identify potential threats posed by individuals or groups involved in terrorism. By analyzing the behavior and motives of terrorists, profilers can help law enforcement agencies identify potential targets and prevent attacks before they occur. Additionally, profiling can also be used to identify potential terrorists before they commit a crime, by looking for patterns of behavior and identifying individuals who may be susceptible to radicalization. By understanding the motivations and behavior patterns of criminals, profilers can help detectives identify suspects and gather evidence to build a strong case against them. So, if you're interested in criminal profiling, where do you start? The first step is to study psychology and criminology, which will give you a solid understanding of human behavior and the criminal mind. You can also read books and research papers on criminal profiling, attend seminars and workshops, and even volunteer with law enforcement agencies to gain hands-on experience in the field. Criminal profiling is a challenging and rewarding field that requires a keen eye for detail, strong analytical skills, and a passion for justice. But with hard work and dedication, anyone can learn the skills necessary to become a criminal profiler and make a difference in the world. Criminal profiling, also known as offender profiling, is the process of creating a psychological and behavioral profile of a criminal offender based on crime scene analysis, victimology, and other evidence. The ultimate goal of criminal profiling is to help law enforcement agencies identify and apprehend perpetrators of violent crimes such as murder, rape, and kidnapping. Becoming a criminal profiler requires a unique combination of skills and qualities. It is essential to have a keen eye for detail and be able to analyze complex information, as well as excellent critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Profilers also need to be able to communicate effectively with law enforcement and other professionals, often in high-pressure situations. A successful criminal profiler should also have a passion for justice and a deep understanding of criminal behavior. They should be able to empathize with victims and have a strong desire to help bring offenders to justice. The work can be challenging, but it is also incredibly rewarding, knowing that the work you do can help to solve some of the most heinous crimes and bring closure to victims and their families. To become a criminal profiler, one typically needs a strong educational background in psychology, criminology, or a related field, as well as practical experience in law enforcement or forensic psychology. There are also specialized training programs and certifications available that can provide the necessary skills and knowledge to become a profiler. Thank you for watching this video on the science of criminal profiling. I hope it has inspired you to learn more about this fascinating field and the important role it plays in solving crimes and bringing justice to victims. Remember, with dedication and hard work, anyone can make a difference in the fight against crime.